Wholeness family, I just wanted to get with everyone this morning, first of all, to say wholeness and balanced vibrations. I trust that you're having another amazing day or getting on your way to having an amazing day. And I just wanted to talk very briefly today about possessions and being possessed. And I feel like this topic would be relevant for today. I kind of have like every day there's something that's on my mind, and I think about it, and I come to some resolutions with things, and then I say, hey, maybe I should share that. So that's what I'm doing now. And what this is about is it's about really what creates one of the most difficult situations for us in our existence on planetary systems. And that's actually with what belongs to us, what we feel like we can command or we can control or should be, in many tenses, doing what we want it to do or tell it to do. And the interesting thing is that what the exit of this planetary system shows is that you don't take anything with you. So this means even the people that you've met on the planet, they may still remain on the planet when you go. You may, of course, still have they may still think about you and be connected to you in different ways, but just in general, that physical connection of the two people physically being together, then that goes away. Let's say the money, the cars, and all those different things, you part ways from that and you move on, because obviously the parents want to teach us that the more stuff you're carrying, the more weight you have. And when you're traveling light, literally going at beyond light speed, then you need to have as least amount of things with you as possible that are dragging you down, or about lower densities, or it's about a lower density. So these thoughts and ideas, let's say that we own something, or that it belongs to us, or that it should do what we want it to do, are actually a part of those lower vibratory dense frequencies, right? And while we know this as conscious people, when it comes time to put it into practice, I just over and over again, when monitoring people, I find that they're just devoid in most cases of putting it into practice. And what am I talking about? I'm talking about that, first of all, there's a concept, of course, of a twin flame, right? That there's a physical person that is the one that is for you to be the yin to your yang. But we found that actually that was directly written, the original concepts about unity, what we call the repair, putting the pairs back together, was actually about the relationship between the spirit and the body, and the relationship with the male, masculine, and the feminine sides of the consciousness, and to bring these forces back together so that way you can activate the higher levels of your existence, i.e. what Dynamo Jack is showing on the Qigong videos, Neigong videos. And then also where you get when you have that much energy running through your body and you happen to go to what people call sleep, and how your body becomes untethered, right? So the reason why that twin flame is so important, because it's like the positive pole to the battery meeting the negative pole to the battery, so that now that they can produce, right? So make no mistake though, there are also people that we connect with physically on the physical realm that match up as, in many cases, the balance to what we're experiencing in our lives. But we still must realize that we can't mistake that external people belong to us, and that they're to do what we tell them to do. And that, because this is the root to the whole problem. It's the root to the problem with the conscious community, the root to the problem with all these different communities you see it happening. And it's because each person feels like they're owed something, or that everything around them must do something, do what they tell it to do, right? And so then the moment that doesn't happen, like the moment that somebody watches something that you don't like people to see, drinks something that you don't like people to drink, says something that you don't like people to say, either it's to you or to other people, the moment that happens, it's the root and the beginning of all of the problems, and all of the heartaches, and all the stress, and all of the samsara of life. So the practice to rid yourself of that, first of all, the knowledge that came to you told you to get rid of it, get rid of that possessive attitude and that possessive way of being, was the results that occur 24/7 just about for many people when you live a life like that. And how to live truly freely, how when something is lost that you don't feel like you lost something because you never took it in the first place. And I always say that, where would you get it? Like, where are you going to get everything from, and where are you going to put everything, because everything is everything. So I just felt it was very important to talk about this because it's going to continuously be a scenario. Not everybody's just going to wake up overnight and realize that they don't own anything and that they can't tell people what to do and they can't control people. And if something happens that you don't like, then you should probably just walk away rather than trying to change the situation, especially if it's living beings, changing them into what you want. Right? So, because that is going to lead to so much turmoil, even if they do it, if they're doing it and it's because you told them to and not something that's originally a part of them, you're actually creating a very dark scenario, because not only are you hindering that person from expanding beyond where you're contracting them to, literally it's like a contractual agreement in a tense with many people, and they feel like when those contracts are broken that the person has somehow violated them. And this is the root to sadness. I was listening to Sasha Spade's recording yesterday on trust law and trusts, and in relation to all of the components to that, just real truth of how things are operated from that level. And her videos on YouTube, amazing stuff. And it was just telling you just that, hey, as long as you're, even in trust law, and trust involves so many things. First of all, when you bring in a third party, and this is what she was talking about. I'll botch it up if I try to act like I'm professional with it. So go check out her video. But in a nutshell, when you bring in a third party, they become this trinity to your trust. So let's say in marriage, there's a third party that comes involved and tries to put these paperworks between you. And then that paperwork becomes public. Now the public is now in your business too, along with them. That's why it becomes a part of the public record. And then now whenever it occurs, you always have to have this arbitrator, if you may, or basically this very, very unbalanced, nefarious system in between you and the person. And that's just one example of it. Like, there's so many different examples on different levels where we do this, where we, bring in other components that violate our trust in ourselves. And because what happens is, if you get all these scenarios around that you can't control, then what this actually equals that you start to become very frustrated about what is happening around you. You start to have that schism in your life where when it's time to see the negative aspects of certain things, you only, because it's like the yin and the yang, like a chart going up and down. So it's when you see the chart going down, it's like you only pay attention to that and you react to that. So you forget that the charts went up before. So this means that when you have great things going on in your life and then something crazy happens, you forget about all those great things. And then somehow the unhappiness weighs more than the happiness. And this is, of course, what happens when, you get yourself tuned in on those kind of levels. So what I'll say is this. We have to get to a point, we have to get to a level where we realize that none of this belongs to us in order for us to really enjoy it. That's it in a nutshell. You could take that knowledge, that power, that truth, and you could do something amazing with it today. You could free yourself of your possessions and what possession causes on a spiritual level. You could be light, move beyond the speed of light. That's all we're talking about. Wholeness.